Solitude is feared by a lot of people, by most people. You may have been brought into solitude because of your certain situations. For me, it was because of a breakup. For others, it might be family matters. For others, it might be abuse. Certain circumstances that bring us together in this lonely space. But a lot of us don't realize that this is a powerful moment for us. Solitude teaches us things that usually aren't gotten from somewhere, that we are not alone. You might be forced into this type of situation, but don't be afraid. As most things are, there's a lot of negatives, yeah, but there are a lot of positives as well. And when I sought solitude, these are one of the positive things that happened to my life. And first of them is peace around myself. I was always someone who wants to be with somebody, a friend, a couple, an acquaintance, my family. Although I'm not much of a outgoing person, the feeling of companionship has been ever so comfortable for me. And I didn't realize that I've been relying on them so much. So much so that I do not live for myself ever. Like never. When someone says, "Oh, I need help with this," okay, I'll dedicate my time to help with you. "Oh, I need someone who can teach me about this." All right, I'll build myself around that. And all these things, yes, are important, but what about me? So when I sought solitude, when I got forced into my situation, when I was forced into the situation, I found peace around myself. Super chaotic. The first 3 weeks rolled around, a lot of crying, a lot of sleepless nights. But over time, I start to see things around me that I appreciate. The one thing that I have mentioned in the previous videos before is actually how okay I look. I always thought I was an ugly duckling because I always saw myself, I never wanted to see myself in the mirror. And now that I have a camera, I can finally see what I look like. Then here we go. Most of you could tell I never used well, not never, like I seldom use the back camera. It's never for selfies. I have only so much selfies in my life, and it's usually for professional stuff or for sending documentation. But nevertheless, that's one of the things that I appreciate in me. Another one is going to the gym. The gym was a big investment for me that have so much returns. And the current business that I'm running, my personal training business, is flourishing. The gym that I only thought that I only initially started because of a whim, that I have been consistent for so many years now, has finally started to be something I could make a living for. And I appreciate that about myself. With all these things, all these positive things that I have missed when I was not alone, when I was always with somebody, I finally saw them. And it created a peace, a very solemn peace around me. I could finally talk to myself. I could finally talk, bring my mind out. I can finally face people. That's mostly my findings for now, but definitely more in the future. Following that, you have this hmm, instant drive. Like after a harsh breakup, in my case, after a harsh breakup, there's this sudden sense of urgency for you to be better. That's one of the reasons that I started this YouTube channel, but not one of the main reasons. That's immense focus and determination. The sense of urgency that you get from something so negative is because you want to get out of that situation very quickly because it's very uncomfortable for you. That's what drives the immense focus, the sense of urgency. But you could see this as a negative thing as well because you have to make every experience make sense in your life. So even though it's a negative thing, you can always assume for it to be just negative. There's always good and bad, as there is bad and good. So these immense focus thing, these self-improvement things that we usually watch in YouTube, by all means, please do so. Okay? I like looks maxing as well. Yeah, where the current generation is right now. And we want to be more attractive. We want to be more conventionally attractive. That's why we do these things, these and that. But all those have to have a limit. And it's not really focusing too much on what really matters. What really matters is peace within yourself, is being comfortable alone. That's the goal all along, to love yourself. It's not to gain validation from other people, but it's to love yourself. I always found it almost impossible to do so, to love yourself. But here we are. Starting to love myself a little bit more. Not too much, but just a little bit more. Now, when you're alone, you suddenly have this tendency to be in the present all the time. So first, what happens when something tragic happens? What are you gonna do? First is you feel your emotions because you have no control over them, because it's going out of your heart. It's going out everywhere, and you couldn't make sense of it. And that's why you're releasing it. And that's being in the present. Right now, you're hurt. So you're feeling your hurt right now. That's being in the present. And with being in the present, I have said earlier that you can have peace around yourself, you can have immense focus. But right now, if you're in the present, you are gonna appreciate a lot of things. You're gonna find appreciation with everything. These birds, these trees, these also insignificant things in the past start to be something that's important to me, that brings me solace, that brings me peace whenever I look at them. And I always used to think about what the trees do for me. It brings me oxygen. So I'm very thankful. I'm very appreciative of that oxygen, because if there's no oxygen around, I will die. I will literally die. These animals, these dogs, they make me see life a little bit more sweeter, because animals are one of the only living beings that can give unconditional love. And that is beautiful in itself. These chirping birds, they're like living airplanes, and I could see them in the sky, and it's really beautiful. These appreciation with everything is a really, really beautiful thing once you have expressed a lot of it. And sometimes you might get lost. Sometimes everything's so beautiful that you might get lost and go back to your old ways. So you have to catch yourself with that, because all these appreciation with everything fills in that void in your heart, and it starts to be a bad thing sometimes, because you fall back to your old habits. And what we want most, if something tragic happened to us, what we strive for is change. Always make sure that you're moving forward. Look at the present. Be at the present. Always. But being in the present means going with time too. You can't go in the present 2 years back, because that's the past. You have to go with time. You have to move too. And that's being in the present. So being alone isn't necessarily a bad thing. I thought it was something really lonely. I thought everybody has to gain love from somebody. Although that may be true, it's not necessary. You have yourself. There is power in being alone. There is power in seeking yourself more. There is power in solitude. That's all for today, guys. Thanks, Felix.